All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. Had massive issues there. Delays starting the game, and my microphone was not working for some reason because yeah, let's. I'll talk about that later. Let's introduce our game because we have a game that has already been going 3 minutes. My apologies. So let's introduce our quarterfinalist. Number one is spawning in red on the top of Desolatia. It is Coup de Grace, also known as Maganra, hailing from Belarus. And he has opened up with a triple land factory, as you can expect from this map. And his opponent, I think you can guess by what is going on with his loyalists, it is our blue Cyber Commander with the name of Iron Commander, and he has opened up also with a triple land factory already, trying to harass, and it already looks like it's paying off, although Coup de Grace is managing to use his ACU to really good effect here and really trying to protect his flanks. And so far, you know, for Iron Commander, I don't think he's been doing that much damage. Coup de Grace actually is doing really nice job here with his tanks in the back. Would really love to see heal on this Mass Extractor. If that was healed, that would have been very good for Iron on, or sorry, for Maganra actually, and it's still kind of good because he hasn't lost too many units here. If we take a look here, looks like maybe 3 are tanks, 4 are tanks, but over here it's all loyalists here doing a really nice job reclaiming as well. And so far this is going pretty good for our Belarusian player from Belarus, let's just say that. And it looks like my overlay is wrong now because, of course, when I restarted the software, it was not going to be getting the correct path because, as always, we have this issue with Streamlabs, and it's pretty annoying. So apologies for that. Let me fix that for you. And yeah, we are good to go here as Maganra is pushing in with his tanks. And yeah, just as a reminder, this is, of course, Desolation modded map, so the game is going to be very quick. I can't quite talk too much as we have engagement over engagement here with the span of, you know, several minutes here. But there is another game going on right now, Soul Ripper versus Foxtermelon in the quarterfinal, and we'll see how that goes as Maganra continues to push here without shields, I want to say here. And it looks like he does have a couple of stars in his units. Iron does not, though. I think he went build cost, build time. Although, no, he normally doesn't go build cost, build time. Maganra is actually doing very well. He shut down the flanks, although there wasn't too many flanks, to be fair, here. And he's just pushing in here. He's making his tanks live quite a bit here, picking off the radar. He's going to get the radar again. No, unfortunately, his tanks focus down the commander. The commander is also taking quite a bit of damage. There's a lot of loyalists in the red here, and Maganra is doing very well. He's not letting Iron really harass him because there is no bots really to harass here. He needs every single possible bot here on the front line defending. Maganra trying to poke in. Beautiful poking in here, and doing a lot of damage here. Those loyalists are going down. The tanks, meanwhile, are living. I would love to see just a little bit more micro from Maganra. This would be really good position for me. And there's no Brackman out on the field, and Iron Commander can't quite afford to go Brackman just yet. Having to throw down a point defense now. That's going to cost him a bit more HP on his commander. He has to bring it back. Pushing loyalists forward, does not have enough research for that unit detonate quite yet. Shield does come out. That's going to help quite a bit. Iron Commander is not underneath the shield. Moves back, and I think Maganra has to pull back here to avoid a lot of losses. 2-3 tanks have already gone down, but so are all the loyalists. The point defense is doing work here. And oh my goodness, do we have a game. And on the back of all this, Maganra is not so slowing down. He's building his 5th land factory here, doing a very nice job. I would love actually to see a couple of mobile missile launchers come out. If they don't start coming out in the next minute or so, we might see a stall, or we might see this. This is actually a really good idea. If he can do some damage here, that's going to be very nice. Iron is already seeing this. He's going to build a point defense here. I don't think that's going to be quite enough against this many tanks here. But he knows he can't really push in here, but he also knows that Iron Commander can't counterpunch him at this point. So it's a little bit of a stalemate here. And I'm going to use this time to hopefully say a couple of words here. So yeah, apologies for the stream dropping. I don't know what's been going on this morning. Just everything is going wrong, I think it seems. But it hasn't dropped while I was streaming or actually commentating, so that's quite nice. I would really love to see shields from Magenra. I think that would really, really help. I don't know what he's putting his... Oh, it's all stars. It's all stars for Magenra, guys. He wants to finish this game now before teleport. He doesn't care about any of this. There's actually 2-point defenses here. Yeah, I mean, mobile missile launchers would really help at this point. He's trying to get his 6th land factory, which is going to come up. That's actually going to make him in front. Oh, no. Iron has one right here. But he can't really take this out because now the center is equalized here. Let's see if he can pick off this. Oh, there's actually 2-point defense. That's going to clean that up. And now we do see actually Brackman coming out here. Iron Commander doing a nice job here reclaiming as well. And we absolutely, I think, need mobile missile launchers. And I think Magenra agrees with me. He's building his first one, is rolling off the line. I don't like, come on, control. There we go. And, you know, I think I have a little bit of time to talk about this now. But last summer, we, of course, didn't have finals, but we had the Serpents Open, which is essentially what the final was. I mean, it wasn't an invitational, so it was a little bit longer. There was more people. Skill level was a little more varied, but at the end of the day, the people that moved on to the knockouts round were the people that were generally very, very good at the game. And the point there is that Magenra is actually the one that beat Iron Commander in that summer open of last year. And that was the first major tournament that Iron was playing. And honestly, he was looking godly going into that tournament, just like he is in this tournament. But so far, Magenra is doing a really nice job. Needs to continue dodging those Brackman, but so far doing very, very well. His flank is actually paying off on the right-hand side. If you guys were looking at the minimap, you would have seen that he routed those. And just needs to continue microing. Very nice job, Shajas in the back as well. Mobile missile launchers, I would love to see them positioned here. That could also draw some fire from the Brackman if Iron is not controlling them very well. Very nice engages here. Gonna push those loyals. Gotta watch for that unit detonate, but so far pretty good. Just has to continue microing against the Shajas, or sorry, Brackman here. And I think Magenra is doing very, very well here. And that goes on to show you guys, I've been saying this for a really, really long time. Yes, maybe some things that the community says about Magenra is true, but he is a phenomenal player that has the ability to beat anybody on any day. He has beat the top 5 players in a tournament setting, every single top player. And that is not easy to do. He might have not done it in the same tournament, but he has done it before, and he has a chance against these players. You can say what you will about other things, but you cannot deny that his skill level continues to show here in this, even in this tournament, or even in this game. Of course, it's too early to say because it's just game 1. Desolatia is a wild map, but you could also argue that Desolatia is a very good map for Iron with all the flanking opportunities. But also, you know, it's a shorter distance. So, you know, you can make all these arguments, but I think you cannot deny that Magenra has the potential to win this series, let alone this game. This game, of course, he looks to be in the lead, although Iron Commander is starting to build off that dev ball. He's not out just yet. I really actually don't like all of these units being over here. This is going to cut off his reinforcements, and that opens up his commander actually here is right here, so he needs to be careful. A simple split of just 5 to 7 units here would actually take all of this out, so I'm not really sure what's going on. That's way too big of a split, but I don't think it matters at this point because there's just simply a lot of units here. Shajas are breaking through the adapter shields, no problem. Brackman are doing work, however. Point defense coming up, that's going to help. Yeah, I mean, the control here from Magenra is not the greatest, but I think he's still okay here. I don't know why Iron has this many units over here. Yeah, if Magenra just brought all of his units back, I think this would be game over at this point. But if this flank works, which I don't think it is, there's 2-point defenses here, actually. That's pretty good, and Brackman are not breaking down that shield. That allows the tanks to engage as well. Tanks need to micro Morgan. There you go. All right. Good. Iron Commander actually gives up. Iron Commander gives up, giving the lead to Magenra. What? What? Ladies and gentlemen, Magenra takes the 1-0 lead in this best out of 5. We are going to go to game 2. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Serpents Championship Series Summer Season Final. This is the quarterfinal match between Coup de Grace and Iron Commander. The map is Tourney Dome, the second version of it, and we talked about the differences, but I will mention them again. We moved the core mass out to the bridges to kind of promote expanding to the back as well as the center. The center position is still very, very strong, though, at least from what I've seen in the last tournament. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and introduce our players, this time starting on the right-hand side. It is our red Aeon Commander, Coup de Grace, a.k.a. Magenra. He's opening up with an air factory. That's what I like to see on this map, especially against Cybran, which is the faction of his opponent once again, of course. This is a one-faction pick tournament, and it is Iron Commander spawning in green this time. He's going to expand forward and backwards. This is a weird expansion pattern. But yeah, so I don't know. Magenra likes to play games. I think the conversation can continue from the previous match. But, he actually said that Iron can pick all the maps. So Iron picked the order of the maps. They did one ban each, and then Magenra said that Iron can pick the rest of the maps. So I'm thinking this is a little bit of mind games. That's what I'm thinking here. Already nice bombing going on here. Of course, going to see the adapters. Yeah, Magenra is playing very well. I think it was 100% mind games, because if he was half, forgive the expression, half-assing it, I don't think his control would be this good. Now, he does have to be very, very careful here. Let's see how he responds to these adapters coming out. Of course, adapters are going to be very hard to deal with, especially initially here. I'm not really sure what these two tanks are doing here. Does he have a radar? He has a radar, so I don't know exactly what's going on. He's also going to scout. He's going to see that this engineer is not going to be expanding any longer, so that should tell him with a very high degree of confidence that his opponent is either going to push him directly, quickly, or he is going to expand forward, which is actually what Iron is doing. He just needs to confirm this, because I don't think his radar is quite seeing all of this happening. I don't necessarily like this position of the radar, but I don't necessarily dislike it either, because on this map there isn't a whole lot of ways that the Cybran can go, so this is actually doing quite a bit of covering. But and it's a safe position, but again, it's not quite reaching forward. But that's what the air is for, so you can use the air to kind of expand. And this isn't actually looking bad for Magen, because there's still no third land factory from Iron. Of course, all of this new mass is going to be very hard to compete with going into the middle game. But I think if Magen can read this, especially if he can see these mass extractors going up, which I think he might actually. I don't. It's hard for me to tell, because without the blue circles, I wish we could see radar ranges as commentators, but fortunately we don't get that opportunity. But yeah, I don't think this is too bad, especially if he sees this. He already has his second and third on the way, and Iron is getting his third. Fourth one is queued up. It's not going to be really too much of an issue. His expansion is stalling out a little bit. I don't like that. He actually doesn't have it queued up. Okay, so that's a little unfortunate. But again, this isn't bad. It looks like Iron wants to protect his shield here with those adapters. If those planes were just a little closer, I think that would be very, very nice. And mobile missile launchers, we do see them coming out a little earlier this game. There's no more air production, so Iron should see this on his radar as well. Iron is one of the best players to read the game very, very well. And it looks like he's going to try and push here, but no, the commander is going to come in here. Yep, commander is going to come in here. Those tanks need to go back. Yep, there we go. Magenra is on top of it. This series, it looks like But Iron Commander's expansion is just really, really good this game, as is any game. Even that last game on Desolatia, he had all the mass points before Magenra. I don't think Magenra even had it at the end of the game. And already picking off a mass extractor. Can't quite engage here for Magenra without his commander, which is a much, much slower, of course. Here does shut down the poke on the top and actually manages to bomb as well. So utilizing that air quite nicely. And I want to say hi to a couple of people while we have some time. I want to say hi to Jaywick's Vanity and Hope. Hey guys, how's it going? Looking forward to watching your matches. Those are going to be epic. We have a lot of epic matches today, guys. So many good players in this tournament. It just so much better than the winter final. Of course, the winter final was crazy insane as well, particularly the bottom bracket. But again, here, this tournament, we also have a crazy bottom bracket, even crazier, which I don't even want to predict who's going to come up on top of that one. Especially this whole tournament. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Iron doing Iron things, managing to get 6-7 loyalists over here. So what is that? A third and 3/4 of loyalists. And yeah, that whole expansion is going to go down likely. Because the Iron is just a beast at splitting. Oh my goodness. Did you see that? Just I don't know how he is so good at reading quite what's going to get bombed, but he stopped that single loyalist that was getting bombed. That is some insane skill, guys. You don't see this without, especially if you're a little bit a newer player. You don't see stuff like that. You think that loyalist just stopped there randomly. It is so incredibly hard to read that, especially if you're playing like Iron is. If you're playing zoomed out so far and you're microing all of these different things. Now, there might be a little bit of an issue here again for Iron with this army building in the center, which overall the Aeon is going to be much stronger here with the blob. Especially with, yeah, it looks like there's training on it again. But the difference this game is that there's a lot of damage inflicted by these flanks. There was no flanks on Desolation. I'm not quite sure what happened in the early game. Unfortunately, I was lagging out there. Or not lagging out, but I was having technical difficulties. So I didn't quite see what was going on there. But, you know, Magenra did something right. Or maybe Iron messed up. I don't know. Maybe both. But it looks like this time around, Iron is just a little stronger. It looks like his economy is kicking in faster. He actually has a land factory advantage, it looks like. Although this one hasn't finished, and Magenra did a nice job picking that off. And it looks like there's still 5 factories versus 4, which is not bad for the Aeon. Not bad for the Aeon at all. And it looks like Magenra's strategy is to just go straight up stars. And you know that's not a bad thing, but you gotta hold the flanks. And now Iron is going to make those necessary adjustments. He's going to get those point defenses again, and he's going to make sure that he plays very, very carefully. We also see an adjustment here with Brackman coming out a little earlier, which I do like. I think on Desolatia he really was missing them until the late game, but he couldn't really afford to get them. And a big connection for Iron Commander here. He's going to start pushing forward, and I think this game is for our Danish player here. What an incredible, just solid game here. Even though Magenra was not playing bad at all here. I just think Iron did what he normally does, and it worked. I don't know what happened on Desolatia, guys. I don't know what happened on Desolatia, but this is game 2, ladies and gentlemen. We have a series on our hands, 1-1 on Tourney Dome. We're going to go into some funky maps now. Well, not funky, but ones that are not necessarily catering to Iron's play style. And we're going to see how it turns out. Of course, best out of 5. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game 3. We have a great series on our hand. So far, it is tied 1-1. And let's introduce our players. The map is, of course, Way Station Zeta. On the right-hand side, we have our Red Aeon Commander, Magenra, opening up with a double air factory this time. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that. I love double air openings. I think they kind of throw a wrench into things. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure if Waystation Zeta is the best place to go. Although his opponent is going one air factory himself. It is Iron Commander. And he's our blue Cyber Commander, opening up with a air factory and a land factory. So a little standard build, but this is really, really nice. I think it's not that much nicer, but I think him, Iron Commander, opening up with an air factory is pretty nice. And it looks like Maganra is actually holding back his air here. And I think he's going to love, absolutely love, that there is an air factory from Iron. So Iron's going to see this. Not the greatest of engagements here. You see that little bits of micro. You know, I don't know. I'm almost sure that it was on purpose, but I think he pulled the wrong plane. He was trying to pull one of the planes that he thought was being targeted out of the way and allow the rest of his planes to engage. Now, to be honest, it's not the best way to micro against one plane when you have a numbers advantage, in my opinion. But you know, unless your opponent is not really paying attention and just switching targets, like if Iron was microing like normal, this is gonna go. Wow. Okay. Well, Iron is just great at hiding his engineers. I always marveled at that. But yeah, I don't think that was the best, but it wasn't the worst either. I mean, just little bits. Okay, losing a lot of air here. 2 adapters. Of course, we could have predicted the adapters coming out from a mile away. And when Iron opens up, when he opens up air, I thought he opens up build cost, build time, but I guess not. Mixing things up. Well, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Second land factory coming out regardless. That is going to shut down the expansion from Iron, and he can't really push. So there's no possibility for pushing. So it's all about what Maganra will do. And okay. Yeah, I actually really, really love this build from Maganra on Waystation Zeta. I absolutely love it. I think when he did it before, he opened up with 1 air factory. So it was a little different, or maybe it was 2. I don't know. But the idea here is he's going to make a hard switch into land here. He's going to continue expanding for a little bit. I think he needs to grab this mass extractor as soon as possible with his commander. He definitely has the mass to do so. I'm really not sure what he's doing. This does open up him for a push, obviously, but there's no air coming out. So this is why it's actually really good now for Maganra, because this 1 air factory is not doing anything. These adapters, while they're really good against air, they're not really going to allow him to push Maganra out very, very soon here. And it looks like Iron is playing, you know, a defensive game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have a research station come up sometime soon and eventually go into like megaliths or something. I don't know. Oh, air is being restarted. Okay, I don't know now. Although he stops it again, research station is going to get queued up. Yeah, I like the research station here, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost positive that he's going to go into a hard land switch, but his expansion is just not... His expansion is not good enough here. Targeting down an anti-air tower, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I like this build, but I think Maganra is being very inefficient here. He needs to have way more mass coming down. It looks like he's prioritizing research, and he doesn't have enough mass for it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he can guess that his opponent is not pushing. Well, I know he knows that he's not pushing because of this radar right here. Yeah, and land. Yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. I really, really do love this build, and from what I've seen, it actually works. The only time that it didn't work was against Alpha Hex in the Invitational Tournament, where Alpha Hex literally rushed for Megalith. And that build is good on itself, but I think it also does very well against this build. Because you don't need to expand with that build ridiculously much, and you get a Megalith, obviously, ridiculously quickly. So these factories were not up in time, But I don't remember Morgan doing a double air opening with this build, let alone with 2 research. But it makes sense. All of this makes sense, especially given the situation here. I really love that he's still shutting down this expansion. That is just absolutely great. What's not great is the fact that I feel like he's not expanding as much as a result of these 3 things here. The 2 research and 1 air. It's really slowing down his expansion. And yeah, if there's a way that Iron is going to beat this, it's actually going to be this. I actually do really, really like this. And Iron is not the person that I think would go for a Megalith normally. And in this case, I think it's actually the wrong way. Once the game passes about 7 or 8 minutes and you don't have Megalith Factory, the gantry, yeah, I think at this point it's not the right way to do it. And on the flip side, we see Iron playing against this type of build well, not this build particularly, but this type of style. This is a very turtle style from Maganra, and he plays this very commonly against Foxtremon. He knows how to beat it. We have seen him, go jump jets with unit detonation before to counter this. That's a very good way to kind of combat this. And if Maganra doesn't pre-split his units, once he gets his shields out, it doesn't really matter because you can just fly in and you can unit deto just a portion, like a quarter of your army, if even that, and take out all of the units. So this is going to be nice for Maganra. We still don't see MMLs, so that's going to be nice. That's going to be nice. The air is still harassing here, but there's a lot of adapters here. Not really going to do anything there. Probably going to lose his air, actually. And Iron should know at this point that this is a hard switch out of air. I do love the extra engineers being produced by the air factories. I do like that. And yeah, I think Maganra is gonna start falling behind here heavily. There's mobile missile launchers coming out, by the way, and I think it's because of this expansion. I would not prioritize second research over land, and especially over expansions. And he's still not moving his engineer here. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be difficult. You gotta keep up with production. And you gotta be winning on that front, because now Iron is gonna build that dev ball. And that dev ball is really what's scary for a build like this, because yeah, he can get shields, which I don't think he's gonna go shields this time around because of these. Well, although Cobras are terrible against shields, so I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, he is gonna. Oh no, that's a radar. What? Did he just make a mistake? No, he still didn't have a radar. Oh, he lost the radar here. Okay. He went Shajas first, which I like. I don't think you can go shields quite yet. But I'm almost positive that he is going to actually go shields here. Yeah, unfortunately, he lost quite a bit of air. If he kept his air and just was a little... Well, I mean, it's hard to say that he wasn't smart, because, I mean, Iron is just doing a good job with all of those... all those adapters, honestly. Yeah, you see just those adapters are just absolute junk. Or not adapters, the Cobras. Actually, Maganra is doing a really nice job focusing them. Yeah, and I mean, any factory that's lost by Magan is a huge deal. It's absolutely huge, especially because there's 6 land factories from the Cybern. There's now 3 from the Aeon. It's still no expansion from this engineer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is... Yeah. Oh, air restarted production. I forgot, or didn't quite catch that, but I don't necessarily dislike that. The one drawback of having a mix like this is that it kind of opens you up against this AOE, and if you don't have enough adapters, you're kind of screwed. So I don't dislike this. I actually quite like that in this situation. Soul Ripper is in the chat. That means he won, right? 3 quick victories for Soul Ripper, right? 3-0. 3-0 Soul Ripper or 3-0 Foxtremon? Yeah, and I will say that Maganra is not the best at microing against Brackman. You know, it's difficult to do, no matter how you look at it. But yeah, I think he needs to just go. Send it. Oh, that bombing run does not do a lot, and there's no PDs here. Oh, wait, one PD here. Pulling back, but of course those Brackman... Oh, unit detonation is huge! And that's the way you counter this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't dislike this build, but against Iron, I feel like it's one of the worst builds out there. Oh, man. All right, well, that first win for Magen was actually very important, because now, I know that I said this last game, now we have a bit of non-standard games. I forget what it... I think we have Boolean Complex next. And I mean, Boolean Complex is anyone's game. Like, Iron is great on any map, but I think the biggest chances against the better players is non-standard, non-land maps, I think is what it's going to come down to here. So 2-1 for Iron Commander. We're going to go to game 4 here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if Magenrot can bring it back. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is game 4 of our quarterfinal, number 2 in the SCS Summer Season Final. Iron Commander is on match point, and let's introduce him. He's spawning in the top of Boolean Complex as the blue Cybern Commander, and he's opening up with a double air factory, and I think this is pretty standard from what I've seen him do, regardless of who his opponent is or what faction he is. His opponent, though, is our red Aeon Commander, once again opening up with a double air factory as well. So, if done properly, or done in a specific way, this opening is actually very good for Cybern. Because Cybern can get a quick lead, but I don't think Iron is playing that strategy. He's just going to go with the expansion route. He's not the type of player to perform rushes, to be completely honest. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he mixes them in once or twice, but I play a lot with Iron Commander, and I actually talk to Iron Commander a lot. And, you know, he's one of those players that is really good at the game, but overall plays the game for fun. I think maybe that's most of the community, but, you know, he enjoys playing the macro. He definitely, and fun tidbit, again, if you don't know Iron Commander and why he's so good, or a big reason why he's so good, is he's actually a really, really good StarCraft 2 player. And he is a macro player, he says. So, you know, fun little tidbits about Iron Commander that you might not know. I do like this situation for... Okay, never mind. I thought Iron was going to continue pushing down with his air, but if he pulls back and takes out this scout, that's actually pretty good. Or decent. Or rather, not bad. It looks like 3-0 for Foxtermelon. Unfortunate for Soul Ripper, but, I mean, Soul Ripper, again, I said this a week ago. When Soul Ripper doesn't play and still manages to come back and you know, play a tournament and qualify for the season final, like, that really speaks to how good he is. And I think that if he, you know, practiced like a lot of these other players that reach the later stages, I have no doubt that he would be, you know, taking games off Foxtermelon. But Foxtermelon is a crazy good player, even if he does practice. That's a really tough matchup. So I don't know how your games went, but I really, really hope that they were good. And, you know, you didn't make any too terribly silly mistakes. But I know that Foxtermelon is just ridiculous. And honestly, you know, if Magen wins this, I wouldn't mind. I would be very, very sad that we wouldn't get to see Iron versus Foxtermelon in a semifinal for multiple reasons. One of them being that Iron Commander is actually on top of this game, in my opinion, right now. I think he's insanely strong. He has always been insanely strong, but I think right now something's up where he's just godlike. I don't know about this match right now, but, you know, it's hard to judge from that as well because it's a tournament setting. There's all kinds of jitters. No matter how how cold-blooded you are, which Iron Commander is very cold-blooded, I would say. He drinks them Iron Commanders and he chills himself out. You know, I really hope we get to interview Iron Commander. Well, actually, no. I can't say that because I want someone else to win this tournament. But I do want Iron Commander in the final. But yeah, if he wins, it'll be... I really need to remember to ask him if he's been drinking those Iron Commanders, because I think he forgot about them. I've asked him a couple of times when we were playing, and he says, no, I don't really drink them right now. I'm drinking like beer or something. And I'm like, what? Unacceptable, Iron. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. All right, well, both players are moving down to the center here. That's kind of the standard with your commander. And this is very nice for Iron here, picking off the engineer over here. And yeah, that actually might be a huge deal. That might be a huge deal here. He's already expanding considerably slower than his opponent. And now we see land coming out from Iron, predictably so. Yeah, I mean, I think this is... Might have been a little bit of a mistake for a land factory here. I don't know if that was intentional. If I was going to build a land factory on one side, it would actually be this side. But maybe he's trying to play mind games as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But this is looking good for the Cybran, honestly. The expansion has been crazy. And I feel like unless your opponent is rushing you with air, Morgan was the one that should have been picking off engineers and not Iron. And we saw, you know, a lot of times this happens, is that one player will go on the left-hand side and, you know, the other player can't be aware of it. And, you know, when that happens, you don't counter it by flying and trying to take out the air. That's actually an incorrect way that a lot of newer players or a lot of less skilled players use, is they will respond to this when their air is like right here. Why are you responding to an engineer getting bombed over here with all of your opponent's air? By sending you're never going to get there. The way you counter it is you actually push against your opponent's engineer on the other hand side, because your opponent is not going to be able to fly back. So you kind of end up in like a semi-base trade situation almost. But yeah, you don't counter it by, you know, Supreme Commander is a highly positional game. It's one of the most positional games you can possibly play, if not the most positional player. And, you know, that's why the radars are important. That's why awareness on the map, your opponent's position is huge. Is huge. Absolutely crucial. So that's just a byproduct of that, because you don't have radar coverage of all these very distant places. That's why it's an air map, guys. That's why it's an air map, is because one mistake in positioning and you could lose your whole base if you're going land. But if you're going air, you have that added factor where, yes, your opponent is here, but you can push on the other side, and, you know, you're both going to get some damage. And unfortunately, Maganra didn't quite do that. He couldn't respond here, and he couldn't really push here. So I don't know what happened. I don't remember where his air was. I don't know what his air is doing now. It looks like he's going to scout that land coming out. Yeah, and this is a hard switch into land here by Iron. And, you know, air is going to be decent, but pure air here? Point defense, I also don't like point defenses because there's going to be mobile missile launchers likely. Although he did scout, so maybe he didn't see mobile missile launchers coming out, and that's why he's building them. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. I feel like he's trying to use the build that Hope did. Excuse me. Well, not necessarily. I don't think I can say that. It's a very loose approach here that he's taken that somehow vaguely resembles what Hope did. A line of energy coming out with air? What? Yeah, this is the absolutely worst way to engage, but Maganra has to do it. Commander needs to be up here, taking out units. And that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. Yeah, you had to win air there, but the problem is that he didn't win air enough. And I'm guessing there's going to be mobile missile launchers coming out. Nope, not quite. That actually causes Iron to pull back. All right, well, that's not bad, I guess. Why is there so much energy coming out? Is Morgan really going to go for an Explo here and try to telesnipe? I mean, that's not a bad way to do it. Iron can't exactly kill Morgan right now, especially without mobile missile launchers. So, you know, I don't know if he's going to have enough air. I don't think he's going to have enough air. Oh my god, again. Just a singular unit gets picked off. That is, that's brutal. Yeah, I think the play here for Morgan is a snipe. And Iron is exceptionally smart. So I think he's going to know. If he flies over this or this, I think he's going to know. Because there's no land. There's no land. What else do you need this much energy for? Well, maybe Loyalist, but that's just stupid. Because there's a dev ball. Oh, well, actually, Iron loses the units on the right. Oh, a lot of air. Okay, that's a mistake from Iron. Yeah, I don't think you counter it with air. Because a snipe is a snipe. You need adapters. You need a heavy number of adapters. You either push this out, or you got to get adapters. But I don't think Magana should be doing this either. Really? You're going to target a radar? No, he's not going to target a radar. What is Morgan doing? What is this? Oh my god. That was the saddest little flyby I've seen in a long time. Is he scouting for the ACU? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, I have no idea what's happening. This air movement is average at best. Let's just say that. Oh my god. Group your air, Morgan. At least. At the very least, you gotta be... Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great series. Absolutely insane. Okay, so the play was to go into shields? Okay, well, if that's the case, then it doesn't necessarily matter. But having gone this much air and losing that much air is definitely not a good thing. So maybe I was a little preemptive by saying that the series is over. But at the same time, this is this is going to be insanely hard to do. Is there even a point defense here? Is there anything that ground fires here? Yes, there's one point defense here. Morgan, you got to group your air at the very least. All right, if he can pick out, if he can kill this blob here, it won't be terrible. But Iron is just really good at splitting his units. I feel like we needed gunships or something. And flares. Oh, there are flares. Okay, so there are flares. And you know, that wasn't a terribly... I mean, yes, he picked off 3 shield generators and a research station. But he didn't pick off any of the production or any of the mass... Well, actually, 1 mass extractor, but it's not terrible. But now Iron actually has a bunch of air. So now that air is actually really, really good. I guess I misread this game. I thought we were going to go into teleport, which we still could. I mean, it's a possibility. Where is the... Yeah, Iron's commander is actually kind of exposed, but there's a lot of air now. Mongnar just lost quite a bit of air here. but Aeon Air is pretty good late game. And not if you engage over adapters, though. That's when it's actually terrible. Yeah. And now these little moves, you know, they start paying off. Iron's just setups are beyond great. Like, there's definitely ways of countering this and killing the Cybern here. Yeah, I think Maganov fucked up here. Yeah, I mean, you left your commander completely exposed, and you're just going to get sniped. Yeah. All right, well, I feel like that's not that hard to expect, but I'm gonna say with the I think without the last game, I think Magan played a nice series. I think he kind of usually Magan is the type of person that selects his strategies really carefully, and that's why he actually has a really high rate of success against good players. But I think this last game, I don't think shields were great. I don't know. That's just me, though. And against Iron in general, I don't think shields is good. So maybe Waste Station Zeta wasn't the way to go either. But I think he did well. Iron Commander is a great player, so you know, he did very well considering all things considered. So great job to him. Congratulations to Iron Commander. Just continues to remain solid as his name suggests. And I look forward to him playing Foxtremel. And we do have that game that we always have in tournaments, Iron Commander versus Foxtremel in the semifinal. But before then, we are going to jump into our second round of quarterfinal matches, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere. If you're still watching,